does compassion heave on your heart?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to giggle. I'm just going to say this because when I wrote the title down, I wrote, does compassion leave on your heart?
Oh.
And then I went, hang on, that's not leave. As I'm reading it, does compassion, I went, it's heave. Does compassion heave on your heart? So that's an interesting one, how I've replaced heave to leave. Yeah, just get out. Any compassion, just get out. Just leave it. Leave your heart behind. Just jump on out. So that is the question. Does compassion heave on your heart?
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yay, this is our deliciously motivated mindset with Debz and Moira.
Here we
Hi,
are.
Moira.
Hi.
Yes, and we have these deliciously motivated mindset conversations to help transform people's mindsets and ours along the way. Don't think that we both get on here and don't get any insights. But thanks for joining, Moira, because otherwise it would just be deliciously
motivated.
Deliciously motivated with Debz.
Or deliciously
doesn't sound,
deliciously mindset.
Doesn't just be delicious. Deborah, delicious. Delicious.
No. Delicious
no.
Deb.
So yeah, just as we're different, it would be, I was going to say it'd be a video, not a not a podcast then. Okay, going back to welcome to Deliciously Motivated Mindset with Debz and Moira. Thank goodness Moira's here. Today's topic, we're just going straight away. Today's topic, oh my gosh, this is a real deep thinker.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to our conversation on this one.
There's going to be weaves and twists, and who knows where we end up. And that's what I love about having conversations with Moira, is we have no idea. We don't bullet point our topics. I mean, we don't bullet point what we're going to talk about. We do know our topics. We don't know the tips we're going to give along the way. They just come out, as you can tell from this introduction. We've just spoken. So, but what if you have listened to us before, if you haven't, what we do is we do check in on our emotions, and we do this from a scale of 0 to 10. 10, which is the number between the 9 and 11. That's my accent from the other side of the world of Moira. Number 10 is where you're really in complete pickle, chaos, frustration, possibly not even listening to this podcast.
Yeah, feeling really stuck and questioning, just overwhelmed.
Even hearing our voices annoying you, just this is happening, just everything is just too much. And that's a 10. That's a 10. And a 0 is, a 0 is, for me, is when you get into a bed at night and you had clean sheets.
And you just melt into the mattress.
And my partner says, whenever I get the clean sheet, I go, oh. So that's a 0 to me. Yeah.
I like that.
Also known as you're completely neutral, centered, poised, balanced. But yeah, I love clean sheets. Anyway, that's another story. So on a scale of 0 to 10, we check in what number you are right now. And then we check in at the end to see, our intention is to let you shift from a higher number up to a lower number. So Moira, where would you be in your scale of 0 to 10? 0 to 10?
0 to 10. So I think
now,
right now, I'm going to put myself at a 1.5. I just feel like there's, well, like you said, we never prepare these conversations, but there's something in here that I think is going to sort of unfurl, or, you know, so I sort of rate myself according to how the title kind of resonates, or, you know, sits for me.
The title is quite I would say exhilarating, because I definitely would definitely one that's going to be a great one. I would say I'm a 2, because all of a sudden, before I got on this call, I've started to get and I'm like, where's it? I've done a little cough, I've done a little so I'm like, oh, wonder what this means. Wonder what this means coming up with this topic. Because we all know a bug, there's something mentally going on with anything physical anyway. So anyway, I'm going to say I'm a 2, 1.5 and a 2. So people jump on into our page and let us know where you're at if you'd like, or you can do that at the end. So just write a note of where you are right now. Grab your pen and paper, everybody, or get your phone out for your notes.
Buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah, and buckle on in, because here we go. Yep, that's our tune of music.
There you go.
So does compassion heave on your heart? And I have to giggle. I'm just going to say this because when I wrote the title down, I wrote, does compassion leave on your heart?
Oh.
And then I went, hang on, that's not leave. As I'm reading it, does compassion, I went, it's heave. Does compassion heave on your heart? So that's an interesting one, how I've replaced heave to leave. Yeah, just get out. Any compassion, just get out. Just leave it. Leave your heart behind. Just jump on out. So that is the question. Does compassion heave on your heart? And it's quite a deep question, I would say. It's a real, like, oh, there'll be times it does and times it doesn't, clearly. But what does that mean? Does compassion heave on your heart? And what's the impact that has in your world?
And that's
Moira,
something.
Go.
So this is why you're saying, because I agree with you that this is going to go really deep, and it's going to translate in slightly different ways for different people. But this is the thing is, are you compassionate to another or even to yourself because you deserve it, because it's easy, because it's just natural response? Or is it a burden? Or is it something you should? I've got my fingers in my quotation marks.
Oh my God, that should word. Yeah, that should word.
Right, because so therefore, like, to me, if compassion's heaving on your heart, there's a sense of, I have to be compassionate.
It's heavy, it's sickening, it's you're in a 10.
It's a burden.
Your Wellingtons are stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I mean, the truth is, to me, I believe that every single one of us is looking for and deserving of compassion, regardless of what's going on. But, you know, when we get into sort of people-pleasing tendencies or getting caught up on, oh my gosh, what would this person think of me if they didn't see me as this kind, caring, compassionate being? Then they'll judge me, and then they'll point the fingers. And do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, are you being compassionate just because that's the way that's the easiest for you?
Or you don't want to look at your own problems.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have a problem with the word compassionate. Compassion.
I love it when you do this.
And here's a side swipe.
And
I actually have usually happens, most of them. I do have a problem with that word compassion, because it's so, like, it's a beautiful word. Compassion is a beautiful word. Yet it is, it just sits in alignment with the word victim for me as well.
Okay.
And they're both heavy on that platform. And compassion means thinking of others, I'm thinking of them. But if you're constantly thinking of others and constantly doing things for other people, you're forgetting who you are. And I think that's my oomph around that word compassion, because compassion can just blood suck the life out of you. If you're constantly being compassionate to, say, your neighbor because something's going on in their world and they are just not shifting in their world, and you've given them help and you've dropped off food and you've walked their dogs and you've put them in touch with certain people and all this and stuff, all this, you yourself are going to go, you know what? I've freaking had enough. I've done 100 things in the last week and they haven't even shifted. So you're going to, and so I think that's that thing, is switching it to a victim, that they're a victim because they're just getting so much value in you feeding them, helping them all the time. And so I guess that's probably my word of compassion, is just nurturing, looking after yourself, because you're just going to get burnt out and you're going to get shitey and because when you give advice to somebody, you expect them to do it, otherwise you don't, and it is an expectation. I'm telling you what to do, you ask my opinion, I'm telling you what to do, you will do it. Well, I don't want to do it because I don't like doing it, it's too hard for me. And then the person who gives becomes incredibly frustrated. And it's that, and I just see it as being a hamster wheel as well, as that compassion. Like, I'm giving to you because that didn't work, so I need to give you some more advice, or I need to give you some more of this, or whatever.
But don't you think that in this scenario that you're painting for us, that there's an agenda? So that's what I was trying to say when I was saying about maybe if compassion is heaving on your heart, like it feels heavy, or it feels like, what's wrong with this person? They're not taking my advice, or what's wrong with this person? They're not following the things that I'm suggesting they do, or saying thank you, or, getting up out of their chair and doing something for themselves. Then to me, that's a tap on your own shoulder to say, hey, you first, self first. Self-care is not something that you put off, or that you can say, okay, I'll get to it later, after I've given compassion to all these people around me. It has to be
after I've fixed everyone else, then I'll fix myself. Exactly. How's that working for you? Duh.
But wouldn't you feel that if it's starting to feel heavy, then it's saying to you, you've got an agenda, or you're there to fix people? Again, quotations.
Yeah, I can see her putting her fingers in the air. Not the fingers that we often use, the quotation fingers.
But do you see what I'm saying? It's like, to me, if you are really being present to yourself, then if there is a heaviness or a burden of like, oh gosh, I have to go and walk the person's dog, or I have to go and do their groceries, it's like,
well, that's where it's that obligation.
It is.
Comes into play again.
To me, obligation and compassion they're not good partners.
they will take you to a 10.
Yes, they will. They will.
Rocking in the corner.
And you will actually recognize when you're in them, because you'll say, I have to and I should. Those to me are big red flags to say, you've not looked after it. You haven't filled your own cup first. You haven't put your own oxygen mask on first.
It's such an interesting one, because we go family. Oh, you need to look after Nana because she's not well, or you need to look after your mum or your dad or your sister, or you need to check on your sister. When was the last time you phoned your sister? You need to do this, and you hear that and you're like, oh God, well, your sister's not doing well. This is not me with my sister. I think she's doing well, but I wouldn't know because I haven't spoken to her. So I say that, but if mum said to me, oh, you need to check in on your sister, she's not well, be like, oh, for goodness sake, when am I going to do that? Like, is it going to be a 2-minute phone call? Is it going to be a 10-minute? When am I going to find the time? I don't want to check in my sister. I don't want to listen to my sister. Now, that's not true. I do love my sister. But I just have to say that in case she's listening, Jacqueline is her name. Thank you. But these are the things that that can come in and can knock you out. And then you're like, oh my gosh, if I don't check in with my sister, what if something happens?
Right.
And that whole mindset chatter becomes really heavy, like a brick wall. Oh God, if I do this.
Yeah, you're
and
spiraling down and down and down with
Mum's
that.
going to keep asking me, have you spoken to your sister? Have you spoken to your sister? Did you ring your sister? What did your sister say? You know, and you're going to be like, oh my God, just give me a break.
Yeah.
And this is where you can come off second best in any of these scenarios.
Right.
Because it's not your decisions, you're doing them for. But how often do we stop and recognize why we're doing certain things? How often do we go, oh,
yeah,
wow.
what is there an agenda here? Is there a yeah.
Like I don't often stop and do something unless it feels uncomfortable.
Right.
Like I'll just do something and then you'll go, oh, what's going on here? Like yesterday, like I haven't walked the dogs in yonks. And yesterday we went for a walk, a beautiful walk in the morning at, I don't know, 6:45, because, you know, that's what you do when it's a lovely morning day and the dogs are up at 6 o'clock. Because them it's not 6:45. Took the dogs for a walk. And then later I was like, okay, I've had a heavy day in the office. I'd really like to go for a walk. So we went for another walk. And my partner said, this is what's going on? Are you trying to bond with us all? Because it's 2 walks in one day. And I'm like, no, I enjoyed, no. And it was interesting because I hadn't even thought about that. Right. But her scenario was, what's going on? This is 2 walks in one day. Because a couple of days before she said, oh, I really want you to come for a walk with me. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get there. Like, right. But I didn't think, but so her agenda, she had to ask. Whereas me, I'm like, no, I need to get out of the office.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is great. Let's go and exhaust the dogs so that we can have a quieter night. Moira did happen to see the dogs this morning.
Yes, lots of balls of energy there.
Yeah. And what time was that in the morning? That was 8:30. But I hadn't even registered that stuff.
Right.
So
to your point, what do you need to have got that internally before it kind of got pointed out to you?
We don't often go, why do I want to go? I just thought, I'll get out and go for a walk. Oh my God, I just need to refresh my air. I know the dogs don't have to worry about cyclists or anything or anyone walking past because the dogs are occupied. So it was like, this is a win-win for me. I can just go into the fresh air, ground myself and do this sort of stuff. But it's interesting how other people put their stories in.
Yeah, I know. So, your scenario that you're painting there reminds me of a question that I get all of my clients and students to use to themselves. Because to your point, we don't really slow down or check in. I've
got my pen. I've got my pen ready. She's gonna make a statement, people.
I'm going to share a question. Is how does this make me feel about me?
Oh, you've told me that. I've got that on a post-it note.
That's one of my favorite questions.
Oh, yeah. Is this good for me?
Yeah. Is this good? Or how does this feel about me? How does this make me feel about me? So, if we are doing something out of obligation or a should or a have to, or I have to keep them happy, then if I check in and say, how does this make me feel about me? I might be feeling disempowered. I might be feeling a little bit resentful. I might be feeling like, oh gosh, yeah, I'll just keep the peace, right? But it's that all it takes. How does this make me feel about me? And where that came from was many years ago, I had a client who was in the dating game, and she kept going. I think she was doing like the online dating and meeting these people, and it was like a couple of dates in, she'd be like, oh, that's not, I don't resonate with this person. And so I had suggested that to her. How about on the very first one, ask yourself, how do I feel about myself here? Meaning in the company of this person. And hands down, every single time it was like, no, I feel anxious here, or I feel nervous, or I feel uncomfortable being me.
That's a fantastic question, just to go to recognize, oh, this is what it is. Okay, there's clearly a pattern here.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's me. I've heard those ones. It's clearly me. It's clearly me, because everyone has the same feeling. I love that.
Yeah.
But look how simple that is.
I know. But you see, it is simple, but it does take commitment and dedication to yourself to remember it. A wee bit like the hand over heart that you and I often talk about.
Oh, yeah,
I talk about it all the time.
I think not a call goes by for a new client. I go, just hand on your heart, just breathe.
Take a deep breath, hand on your
Yeah.
heart. Or the other one
I actually did that at a workshop, at the end of a workshop. And I did that, and then we did a little tweak of something, and everyone said that was the most powerful way to finish that workshop. And I was like, oh, must remember that every time I put a workshop before you write a testimonial, any of those things. Yeah. So thank you, hand on the heart. Okay,
hand on the heart.
Back to Moira again.
So know that I run a group program too, and I will often take them through a guided meditation at the end. And when I can kind of sink in and feel how they're feeling, and there's been times where I've actually done that. I say, put both your hands, one over the other, over your heart, to anchor in what you've just done.
Yeah.
And take a deep breath. And then they come back. And it's just because this is why I'm saying that these isms or ideas that we share, or that I share, are simple. But where we forget them, or we don't take time, or we don't just take that moment to say,
pause. We don't pause enough.
That's it. Just press pause. Just press pause, and then find your balance and your rhythm. And because, one of the beautiful gifts of the COVID experience is that the pace changed. We needed that. Collectively, I believe we needed
I think the whole world,
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
And that, I think, also when, I was part of the Christchurch earthquake back in 2010, then 2011. And I think just even that got us to go, what's important to us?
Yeah,
what's important? Is that big TV important, or are our neighbors important?
Right.
Or is our love for our family important? And all activities changed. You'd go to the park and you'd be different compared to hiding away, in front of the devices or something. And I do think that, and that is another level of compassion as well.
Absolutely is. And actually showing up in that kind of a level of compassion is because it feels right and it feels nurturing, as opposed to I have to, or here's an agenda, right?
Yeah.
And that's super important. And it's actually, even before all of this last couple of years, I have been noticing a change in people's awareness about, you were saying about the 50-inch screen. There's more and more people simplifying around like Christmas times. It's like, no, I don't need things. I just want experiences.
Yeah,
right?
I totally agree. And there's a Facebook social media page, there's a social media page, that Facebook one, and it's about what gifts can I give my kids and and someone's just listed a whole lot of activities instead of buying, go do this. And I remember when my daughter was younger, it would come Christmas and birthdays, and when I say younger, she's 21 now, but she would do gift vouchers. She'd go a cuppa in bed.
Nice.
It could be a cup of water or whatever, or a massage of your feet for 2 minutes, and then she put 2 minutes only, not 2 minutes plus, like, but just those little things, and you can pull that card at any time.
Yeah.
I love those. I know that, Amazon put out proper official ones, but those things, can be redeemed at any time, can go for this. I would like my favorite meal tonight, or like my favorite meal tomorrow night in the next 24 hours or something. Like, they were really cute things that was so significant, so thought of, so meaningful.
That's it, right? It's meaningful.
Yeah. And that's, I loved those. But experiences I love over
things.
whatever. Yeah, because you remember that stuff. Someone says someone plays a song and they go, and the memories go, oh, I remember that song. We were listening to, I was talking to my partner's mum, and the three of us are having scones, as you do, and we were talking about La Bamba. We're talking about the plane crash, and we're talking about La Bamba, and I couldn't think of the movie that I'd watched, La Bamba, by Richie Valens, whatever it is. And and so I messaged Dad and put Dad on speaker. So the four of us had this whole conversation about that, where we were when that movie came out, and Dad and my partner's mum knew exactly when the plane crash happened, because I wasn't around, and it was a real massive conversation around that and what we all thought about that, and it just brought back great memories. So we've said, let's watch that movie, and Dad actually said, oh, I watched it, he watched it that night and gave us all a review on it. But it was just that whole scenario of doing something, and we've said, let's do a date night of watching that, and it's those experiences that create those memories, that create the thought process, the joy, the whatever it is,
and the sharing of compassion with all of you. So there's no sense of obligation or
no, we want to
to do this because it's gonna, it's spending time with loved ones.
I know they're gonna ask me about this, I have to do this. No, it was none of that. It was just like, this is fun. This is, and we all talked about a certain memory. But you talked to someone about the earthquake in Christchurch, everyone's got a different scenario,
right?
You talk about, with this pandemic, where it first came out and everyone's got a different scenario. But you must have your scenario, not the ones that others have put in on you. But that's all the level of compassion. I have found compassion right now with this pandemic is driving me frustrating levels, I would say.
In what regard to?
I would say the social media where people are pro or against, and people are keyboard warriors.
I completely agree. I actually, for myself, I've been really, really limiting my attendance on social media. I really don't want to engage, because this is another thing, a big piece to my way of looking at compassion is that not everybody has the same opinion or way of looking at things. I'm not here to convince anybody, but I don't need to also take on or hear complaining or venting or comparing, or do you know what I mean?
Because your world is about transforming others' mindsets. So when people are complaining, you can say these certain things, or go watch this or do this or whatever, but sometimes people just want to sit in that. So I'm not going to give them compassion towards that. My compassion is more, wow, they've got their own opinion. Wow, they're so determined on that. I love them for who they are. Let them have that opinion.
And I'll go talk compassion to a circle that want to do that and get more into that. Yeah,
absolutely. But I would say keyboard warriors is, but we've had that all the time. They've just come out way more with that. And then comparing countries, it's not just the one limited country, it's everywhere, but it has definitely, I'm going to say it's more, the issue is more about this than something else. But then, Black Lives Matter, gay, president, it's not one thing, it's another. Every year we've got something that, the keyboard warriors come out and complain about.
I know. Sometimes my husband will tell me things, because he listens to the news and he'll start telling me some opinion. And and like, to your point about the keyboard warriors, I think oftentimes I just think, wow, it's a really interesting use of your time.
I always would like to see what they look like. And, I visualize them as being somebody who doesn't eat healthy, sitting in their undies in a dark room with, hoarding clutter all around them. And that's just where they're sitting. That's what I visualize a keyboard warrior being. Yep, that's Deborah's mindset.
There's Deborah's mindset.
No compassion for that. No compassion for that. But yeah, I do.
From my perspective, I can have compassion, but I don't need to go into it. And so what I mean by that is that I can just say, okay, that's an interesting point of view, and not take it any further.
I'm not going to negate your point of view because that's yours, and I will pick and choose if I would like to share my education with you. Exactly. But I don't have to, and I think that's compassion on me and my own self-care and my nurturing.
Very
would be
much
a way
so.
of wording that.
Very much so, because I know that there are people out there that have a completely opposite and opposing belief system to how I roll. So why would I then express my ideas in a place where I know I'm going to get ridiculed or told that's not right, that's not how you see it? It's like, well, no, then you see, that's me doing a number on myself, because it's like, no, I know I'm not here to talk to the people who are the naysayers or the want to be these keyboard warriors. So I'm not here to talk to you. Right?
Yeah. Compassion isn't a detriment to your health. It's only if you become second, third, fourth, fifth in that priority order.
Bottom of the list. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I would say that's it. And you're right, it is compassion for that person to have that voice, that opinion, but you don't have to agree with it. And
that's right.
And you don't have to agree, but you also don't have to fix it.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing. People go, right. But
I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, people do have opinions. And I remember somebody actually saying to me, why is your website red? Why is your favorite color red? And I was like, what do you, I didn't even know this person. I don't like red. If I'm going to work with you, this is kind of, if I'm going to work with you, you need to change your coloring of red. I was left with, how did this was all like, her words came out in 40 seconds of me meeting her.
Wow.
So she'd obviously stalked me and then said red. I said, I like red. Oh, I don't like red. Well, okay. So I had no compassion for that person. Oh, by the way, she did work with me. And my website's still red. But it was really interesting how opinionated people can be and confident. And I'm a confident person in saying things, but I will also pick and choose when to say stuff. But it's, it's like, to me, it's like, well, you're the one who's got the problem with the red, clearly not me. Yeah. Red's not branding colors. And so it was something we never discussed in our consults. I just didn't go there.
Right. Of course not. Why would you?
Because
that would be a bit like somebody. That would be a bit like somebody coming to me and saying that they couldn't handle purple.
Purple, I was going to say, it'd have to be purple for Moira.
but that blows my mind, though, with that person saying that. Number one, it's fine to say, I don't like red. If somebody doesn't like purple, I'm totally fine for them to say, I don't like purple. That's fine.
But I know the thing you're going to say, but
they cannot come and say, change it all.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to work with you if you stay red. Guess what? You're not my person.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you're going to dictate that quickly to me. My God, give me a minute. Lube me up before you shove me.
when I heard you say that, I was like, the voice in my mind was saying, well, that's just not my peeps.
Absolutely. But then there's the word of desperation. If I was desperate, I would have jumped in.
Yeah.
Would have been desperate to A, get that client, B, get the money, C, try and fix them.
Exactly. But right there is the perfect example of compassion heaving on your heart, because you're in this line of work. You and I are both in this line of work because we are very compassionate beings. Yeah. We want to hold space for people's personal development and leadership development, right? That's kind of what drives us in this. But if we are then undermining who we really are, or what we like, how we roll,
when we put our hand on the heart, if we're undermining that,
then we're actually not being of best service. And it's actually, when we do things at the detriment of our own well-being, ultimately it's our clients or those that we're called to serve that pay the price, because we're not being that unlimited, powerful catalyst.
Well, I'm not going to hold
Right?
energy for that person who's
Yeah.
already come in and said those things. I'm not going to be present and poised, and I'm going to come in from a different energy space than I would from another client.
Yeah, completely agree.
Look, I get opinions. I understand opinions. We all have opinions, and it is literally just about, is this, like you said, how does this make me feel about me?
Mm-hmm.
Is this worthy of my time? Or do I just move on to something else? What feeds my soul? What lights me up? Where's my glitter bomb? Where can I sprinkle my joy, my spark, whatever it is for me?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. And compassion is, I do go back to that compassion, and I think victim word. I do go back to that. It's definitely shifted in my mind around this. But anything that heaves on your heart, anything, you've got to stop it before you get medical, physical symptoms come into you.
Absolutely. And so that's what I invited our listeners earlier, is that if you do get that heaviness or that heaving sensation on your heart, it's guidance for you. It's intel to say, wait.
What the frick is going on?
Yeah.
Oh, Deborah would say that. What the frick is going on?
But it's about finding that pause, finding the pause to this, say, have I overbooked myself? Have I overcommitted? Have I not had some time out and just looked after me, got enough sleep, eat well, go outside and walk, etc. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important. And I remember you mentioned self-care earlier, and I just love that. Self-care. What is self-care? Self-care is you. You.
Yeah.
And I say that to you people, but that's me. It's all about me. I mean, I did actually try and request that domain many, many years ago, allaboutme.com. Somebody had already taken it. But that's exactly it.
Them.
Yeah. But self-care is all about that stuff, and that compassion for yourself. Anything that heaves on your heart is going to be detrimental to your health.
Well, that actually reminds me too, that's the thing of, if we don't love ourselves, it's the same with compassion. If we are not compassionate with ourselves, how can we either share it or have it come back to us? Right? When a person can't love and accept who they are, they can't really expect other people to love and accept them. Right?
Yeah.
Self first.
Yeah.
Not selfish, it's self first.
Yeah. Look, there is so much in this, just even that word heave, just
heave.
Leave.
Heave
Does
ho.
compassion leave on your heart? Yeah. Heave on your heart.
Yeah. Awesome conversation. I hope this has helped our listeners get deeper into where's compassion coming from? How am I being the conduit of compassion, or am I getting stuck in patterns or shoulds or agendas or things like that? Any last minute tips on that before we check in our numbers again?
Just just get present. Present.
That's super important.
Yeah, just get present. And I love that. How does this make me feel about me?
Yeah.
And when you are getting to that point and you realize that it is you, not them, referencing the dating thing, check in with Moira or I. Just come back, because we are here for you. Yep. That is why we do these deliciously motivated mindsets.
Deliciously motivated mindsets. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, dear listeners, we hope that you did rate yourself at the beginning of our conversation, and we encourage you to check back in now. Did the number come closer to 0, or maybe we triggered you and you're gone way sailing up towards 10? Either way, it's just, this is about an assessment tool to just check in and be present to what's going on. So all that being said, Deb, you were at a 2 at the beginning.
I'm going to say I'm a 0.5. I'm not a 0 because my mind is thinking, "Ooh, what what can I do? What do I not need to do? Da, da, da. So I'm going to say 0.5 because my mind is definitely thinking more, proactively thinking, inspiring thinking. Yeah.
Very good. I like that. And I think I'm going to put myself at a 0.5 also, because similar. Some of the things that we've kind of danced into, I'm kind of like, I think I need to pay attention to make sure that I am walking this talk. For the most part, for the most part, I am. But it's always about staying present to making sure that that's how you're rolling at all times.
Being. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome, my dear. Always a joy to do these with you. We hope this helped our dear listeners. We look forward to chatting with you next time. Oh, so share what your number was. Share what it was at the start and at the end. We'd love to hear that.
Definitely. Thank you, everybody. I'd love to know where they've shifted. Let us know. Check in. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right,
Thanks,
dear Deb.
Moira.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.